Hello everyone, today we're diving into the lore, so buckle up. Hello everyone, it's been a long time, and today we're talking about lore from the Meteor RPG universe. Allow me some words first. I am the creator of the Meteor RPG, I'm Angelo, and feel free to check out my game in the official website. The link is below the video. So Meteor is a great RPG. I enjoyed making it for years and years and years, and still improving it in many ways. Many people are playing right now. Myself, I'm running a few campaigns, more than I can handle at this time. And feel free to check out the features. It's not D&D, it's not anything. It is its own game, and I think you're really gonna love it. And it also features a unique world called Vitalia, and we're gonna talk about some of it here. Now, in today's video, we will discuss about the Freelands. So, in the world of Italia, here is the world map. We have the land called the Freelands. So we have the Freelands of the south, this region here, and we have the Freelands of the north. And we're gonna focus on the Freelands of the north today. So the Freelanders were people that arrived in this section of Italia and cleansed it from monsters. Monsters usually coming from the crater here. So Vitalia has what we call warrens or craters, okay? And the monsters are created in these craters from the very sentinel itself, the creature that is the living manifestation of the planet. So the monsters hatch in amber deep inside the earth and surface through these craters or else warrens. And now these warrens not only spawn monsters, but they also affect the weather of the world. But we're not going to focus on that today. Now, some of the elder warrens, meaning the largest craters that spawn more monsters, of course the largest of all is here in the center of the earth, but another one is here in the north, the mouth of the Sentinel. Now, the Freelanders arrived in this section and had to fight off the monsters, and once they cleansed the lands, they founded their own kingdom. But that wasn't enough, and then they had to expand north, and that brings us here in the Freelands of the north. So the Freelanders are actually one of the few places that many races, many species mingle with each other. So we have a combination of humans, brute gores, dwarves, and Serenians. So each city-state has a different architecture and culture due to the many species. Now, the history of the Freelands of the North starts in the year of 360 after the Cell, with the expansion of the Freelanders, as I mentioned. So the powerful armies of the Freelanders, having gained significant strength, embark on northern expansion toward the Tooth Mountains a region infested with monsters. Now, these here are the mountains we're talking about. As you can see, is a huge section that actually divides the kingdom in two parts. So, first, they came north, but they had to cross the mountains to claim the whole territory, which is a huge quest on its own. And then we have the founding of the Freelands of the North. So years after this whole conquest, they get to become autonomous. Now the Freelands are divided into two allied huge states. They are allied, but they're not the same. Crossing the Tooth Mountains. Now, crossing the mountains was actually the biggest task the Freelanders had to take. The Freelanders of the North decide to cross the Tooth Mountains and are forced to face terrible creatures in countless battles. Access to the eastern part of the continent becomes impossible. The leader, Gwostrak Gern, and his army discover an ancient site of the forgotten race of the Shana. The native people possess significant knowledge of the area and wield magical power. With their help, they manage to cross the mountains and reach the eastern shores. So, the Shana are one of the forgotten races in the Meteor Tales universe. They lived during the First Age, and they were actually very powerful, and they also managed to, in very limited time, to form significant settlements. Now, I use them in many campaigns when adventurers come to explore ancient ruins, lost civilizations, stuff like that. It almost always comes back to the Shana people, because they managed to do a lot in very limited time. They were advanced in a way. They were closer to the Sentinel than the others. Here is an image of the Shana people. They were red-haired. So, in the year 669, the Budgod chieftain of the Freelanders of the North, Daragor the Grim, ordered the execution of the Shana that are accommodated in the newly formed cities that were built on top of old Shana territories. The battle was fierce, and the Shana were slaughtered. Some survivors managed to escape the mountains. Yep, again, the terrible nature of the people. As I said, one of the races that constitute the Freelanders is the Brutgors, and Brutgors are what we call barbarians. They take what they want, they kill what they don't like, and even here in Armoria or Armor Grant, the Brutgors always raid the human kingdoms. It is in their blood. It's not exactly evil, although it's a very morally grey area, but it's a barbarian way. So that resulted in the purging of the Shana race. Moving on, many years forward, we come to the year 1110. Now, during this time, all of the world is going through a mass hysteria. We're talking about the witch hunts and and how magic was prohibited in many areas. This started in the north. The dwarves started that. They are responsible for this, and they prohibited magic in their own kingdom. But that goes back a lot to the dwarven history and the runic stone. We're going to talk about it at another time. But they always had a very fragile relationship with magic. But that thing passed to the Freelanders in the north, and by extension, that also moved to other regions of Italy as well, all the way down to the human kingdoms, the Falklands here. So that mass hysteria resulted in the hunting of and burning of witches, and not only witches, sorcerers, all types of magic users. So the Freelanders contributed in the shameful act of transporting a special unit called the Runic Knights that were mage hunters. So in the year 1110, the Freelands of the North form an alliance with the dwarves of Esgolithon, providing support for the transportation of the Runic Knights, a clan tasked with hunting down magic users. The alliance aims to enforce a ban on the use of magic in several kingdoms. As a reward for their assistance, the Dwarven King bestows upon the Freelanders a powerful ballista named Daronka, strategically placed in Antoria to bolster defenses against impending monster invasions. And then we move to the Nakra Canal War. In 1340, a war between the dwarves of Esgolithon and the Freelanders of the North breaks out, later called the Nakra Canal War. The war lasts for 4 years and ended with the Canal Treaty, which resulted in the alliance of the two kingdoms and the construction of more ports to further support the transfer of goods between the two sides. So Nakra Canal is this area here, as you can see. So it connects actually the Freelanders with Esgolithon, the Isle of the Dwarves. So of course there was a lot of fighting going on at first. Now we have the Canal Treaty here, and then we have Jerkoi, the Frost Giant. So in the year 1519, the eastern cities of the Freelands of the North face relentless attacks from Jerkoi, a colossal two-headed giant. So Jerkoi is what we call a child of the sentinel, an Amar, with icy breath from both heads and near invulnerability to regular weapons. The beast spreads terror across the northern lands. Felenos is nearly destroyed, but after the creature's demise at the hands of Morgeth and the Bloody Guardians, the city is swiftly rebuilt. This gives me another pass to mention the Blade Guardians, probably the most famous and heroic order in the history of Italia. I would love to make a video about them in the future. It's the closest thing to the Arthurian legend you will see, but in a very high fantasy setting. Spider curses. Okay, this refers to the proximity that the Freelands have to the kingdom of Arcanara, where the Dark Elves live. So be prepared for that. In 1770, a human warlord of the Freelanders of the North, called Areio Erbeth, sends a portion of his army to conquer the mysterious lands of the south that are called Arcanara. The soldiers get buried in huge warrens beneath the earth, never to return to the surface. Days later, a huge swarm of spiders appears before the gates of Helenos, rumored to be the soldiers that were sent south, transformed by a terrible curse inflicted by the elves of Arcanara. No other introduction is necessary. So I'm gonna stop here because now we are moving on to the what I call the present timeline of the world. Now I have a brief overview of the Freelands of the South, of the Freelands of the North, and a few words about the South. You can use this kingdom and the setting for your games. You can find it all in World Anvil. This here timeline I showed you is from the World of Italia, and in World Anvil you can visit for free this page, of course, and take a look at its history here. Now I am making the first ever campaign book in the world of Italia, and actually takes place in the north. Now that book is called the White Frost Plague, and it talks about a plague in the Freelands of the North, and it's going to be a large book that takes adventurers from low levels to high levels, and it launches soon on Kickstarter, and I will put the link below if you're interested in something like that. I'm gonna read you the overview. The White Frost Plague campaign tells a tale of a devastating calamity that threatens to annihilate the North Freelands. Anamar, a child of the Sentinel, imbued with the power of a deity, has awakened from its ancient slumber beneath the colossal mountains known as the Tooth. So we talked about the mountains before. Now you can imagine the size of that thing. This is a monster here depicted in the cover of the book. So actually the campaign is about this monster waking up in the mountain and unleashing this White Frost Plague across the land, and the heroes must travel very far to retrieve an artifact and put it back to sleep. It's a huge campaign, it's a huge journey. So you're going to take them across many lands in Vitalia. They're going to travel north and then will travel the sea. They have to go all the way here and get this item back. I'm not going to spoil it to you, but it allows me to show the world and showcase the traveling mechanics and the monsters and everything that is going on here. It's going to be an epic campaign. You're going to love it. Make sure to check it out. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. If you like this kind of videos with the lore going on. I know it's difficult to hear about lore in a world that you don't know anything about, but I'm going to use this to create videos, and maybe, you know, things that I've mentioned in the video, if you're interested in them, I can make a video about that specifically. Let me know, and I'll see you next time. Take care.